Hi, and welcome to our May 24th Leaders Update for Resica Falls. Got a couple of exciting updates to share with you this evening in what will most likely be our last virtual Leaders Update before the summer of 2021 gets started. So very excited, very happy that people are here to join us this evening and see what we have in store for us. And for all of you this summer at Resica Falls. I guess we're going to go over our cast of familiar faces for this evening at this point, right? We have myself, Steve Mock, the camp director at Resica Falls, Jerry Reed, our assistant camp director, Jacob Huff, program director, Andy Connell, our assistant program director, and then Matt Gutterman, our pandemic response coordinator. You'll be hearing a little bit from each of the five of us tonight as we go over what we consider to be some exciting and good, valuable details for the next steps as we prepare to have some fun this summer in camp. So we'll have some general updates about some various odds and ends that Jerry and I will be hitting on with you guys. We'll have some COVID-19 updates and changes to some different policies and guidelines that are going to be in place this summer. Jacob and Andy will go over some program updates, and then we'll wrap it up with any unanswered questions and questions that people might have. Now, as we're going through this evening and we're hitting on various points, right, please make sure you use the Q&A feature to ask any questions that you might have about various points that we're talking about, or maybe something that sort of comes to mind that we didn't necessarily hit upon in a particular section. I would say that if you have a question about program, wait until we're going over our program updates before you ask that, just in case Jacob and Andy have that in store for us, and we don't want to get ahead of ourselves here. This is our, I believe, our fourth Leaders Update that we did. We did one February, March, April, and May this pre-camp season. So if you missed any of our previous Leaders Updates, they are available at youtube.com/Resica Falls. Okay. And that is also where this recording is going to be in the next few days after this. So together, these four virtual Leaders Updates will serve as a bit of a guide for you as you're preparing your unit to stay in camp. So some general updates. Jerry and I are going to bounce back and forth with these. Take it away, Jerry.
Good evening, everybody. By now, all the troops should have paid 100% of their camp fees as of May 15th. We are getting ready to lay out the campsite assignments, and it's hard to do if we don't have the correct numbers for your troop to lay out the campsite assignments. So if you have not had the chance to pay the fee completely, and if you're just waiting for a few parents, please call in with your numbers to verify that we have to give each scout a tent. We need to make sure we have good, solid numbers. So if you could please do that, that would be very helpful. And the campsite assignments should be coming out starting June 4th. And we'll get through the first 3 weeks or so. And then we'll start doing weeks 4, 5, and 6, and maybe 7. So it's important that we have correct numbers, and we would appreciate if all fees were paid before you come to camp. If you have any trouble, let us know, please. All right, thanks.
All right, going off of that is our pre-camp survey that we ask each unit to fill out. That's available at resicafalls.org/documents. And that hits upon some key factors that help campsite assignments and things like that, in addition to your registration information. So filling that survey out by June 1st okay, is going to make Jerry's life a whole lot easier between then and June 4th when he gets started with those campsite assignments. If he can know those little details, such as, do you have a unit trailer? Are you going to have an adult leader that needs access to electricity? Which are some of the questions that survey asks. And I'm sure many leaders have already started to fill that out, but please, having that done by June 1st will make Jerry's life a whole lot easier when it comes time for those campsite and arrival times. Jerry talked pretty much about those arrival times, so I want to hit on food and dietary restrictions, right? We're still working with Aramark to put the finishing touches on our summer camp menu, and that should be available within the next couple of days, right? June is next week. So we will have that for you. But even still, right, there's not a reason not to have filled out the dietary restriction form, which is also available in the documents page, resicafalls.org/documents. And any food allergies or dietary special requests that you might have or scouts might have in the unit, they can fill out this form, and that information gets recorded and will be shared with our food service company to make sure that we can handle all those special meal requests and things like that as best as we possibly can. And then troop shirts, Chair.
As you can see, our theme shirt is right to the right of the screen, Knights of the Bushkill. 2 troops have ordered troop shirts already, so get those orders in. We have to have them like 3 weeks before the first week. So weeks 1 through 3 need to pretty much have their shirts deadline by June 6th, which is approaching quickly. So anybody in week 1, 2, and 3, please order your shirts, and we'll have them at camp when you arrive. And then 3 weeks later, the deadline for weeks 4, 5, 6, and 7 are somewhere later in June. So they look cool. We had good responses on it. And so order your shirts often and early. Thanks.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions about the topics that Jerry and I talked about? Let's see, we got one here about cost of the shirts. The costs are listed on resicafalls.org/shirts. Okay, they start at $15 for small through extra large,
Right.
and then they go up from there depending upon size. If you order less than 10 shirts or at 9 shirts, right? If you order 9 shirts or fewer, so you have to pay a setup fee for the screen that goes on the back with your unit.
Which is only $10.
Right, which is your unit's troop numbers and your hometown. So those are available and you can fill that out or sign up for those at resicafalls.org/shirts. The dietary restriction form is an online submission. There is no paper form. So you can direct parents to fill out that form via resicafalls.org/documents. Okay. Somebody asked if you filled out the pre-camp survey. I don't believe you could add or amend anything after that survey's been completed. Okay. But I would say that if there are changes based upon what you originally submitted, you should email us to let us know. Okay, so those are just some quick general updates. Okay, and then if people think of other ideas or things that need to be hit upon, just throw them in the Q&A as we move on to now with our COVID updates with our pandemic response coordinator, Matt Gutterman.
Great, thanks, Steve. So a lot of things going on with our COVID-19 policies. By now, you should have seen our previously announced enhanced check-in procedures, our socially distanced dining procedures, the daily temperature checks, and increased sanitation and all that stuff. If you haven't seen that yet, I encourage you to go back and watch some of the previous pre-camp leader meetings here, which can all be found on our YouTube channel, where we go more in depth on all those. A couple things that we wanted to provide some updates on now. So we did want to provide some clarification on our masking procedures for this summer. Masks, we just wanted to clarify that masks will be required indoors and also required in any public area for things such as colors, campfires, or program areas where you might not be able to social distance from other participants in camp. Masks must cover both the nose and mouth, and we've been asked by our Health and Safety Committee to specify that they cannot consist of a bandana or a neckerchief. They've got to be something of the like pictured on the slide here. Again, we're following all those procedures that we previously announced. So if you haven't seen any of the stuff that's listed here on the top of the slide, make sure you go back and check some of that out. But the kind of last big change to our COVID-19 procedures surrounds our program groups being consolidated. I'm not going to hit on that too much because the program guys are going to hit that in the next session. But those kind of cover some of the more recent changes that we've made to these policies. You'll be able to find any of these changes as well as anything else that we've discussed previously on the Resica Falls website. We're working now to put together a kind of a combined document to upload there, so you can find all this documentation in one place. And again, like we've encouraged during all the other sessions, if you can get vaccinated, we do encourage you to get vaccinated. A majority of our participants, both youth and adults, are now eligible for vaccines, and this is probably the biggest mitigation that we could put in place for keeping everyone safe in camp. Do we have any questions so far on this?
Yeah, there's a couple questions about the use of gaiters as mask.
Yep, gaiters count as masks. The only thing that we're asking you not to use are neckerchiefs or bandanas.
Okay, and somebody asked a question about being fully vaccinated as well as mask wearing.
Yeah, so the vaccination doesn't completely protect you. There is still the possibility of contracting COVID-19 or spreading it to others. So we have these masking policies in place and some social distancing policies that we're asking all of our campers to follow to help keep everyone in camp and safe. Everyone in camp safe.
Okay, and then somebody else wants to know, will any of the other COVID-19 restrictions we have in place be adjusted in the coming days or weeks?
Yes. So we'll continue to evaluate any changes that need to be made as we approach the summer. And you might even see some things change during the summer based off of how things go or in response to changes from the CDC or other organizations. So make sure you keep an eye on the Resica Falls website. We'll also make sure any emails go out in our Resica Falls Spark, that any updates also get included in that.
Okay, and I'm sure people will continue to have some questions as we continue on about some COVID-19 policies. So we'll continue to answer some of those in the Q&A feature, as well as maybe answer a few more of them out loud as our meeting sort of wraps up near the end. Thank you, Matt. We're excited about how this little altering of our mask policy maybe makes things a little easier this summer when people are able to be socially distanced and not then having to wear a mask. So thank you. And I think at this point now we're going to turn it over to the fun twins of Jacob and Andy, our program duo, to explain how some of our program things are going to be changing this year.
All right. So the first thing we're gonna hit on is, as mentioned prior, a couple of our program groups are going to be able to consolidate due to new guidance with COVID and council and camp. We're able to fit everyone together into one program section. So this is going to be like our opening campfire on Sunday night. We're going to consolidate that into one singular campfire. Closing campfire Friday night is Friday afternoon as well, consolidated back into one group. Our all faith service Wednesday night, the OA call out Wednesday night, colors, one group all together on the parade field, but still masking, just be extra safe. It is outdoors, so we should be safe and all that. And other similar programs are going to be consolidated. However, there are a couple that Jacob's going to talk about that are going to still be distance and kind of limited numbers.
Thanks, Andy. Yes, so since those originally were two groups, so we're going to run 2 opening campfires and 2 closing campfires and such, and they're now consolidated into one. I saw that somebody had asked how the policy differs from earlier. So that's what we're doing, is consolidating them into one, because the distancing requirements have not gone away, but like it's just a less distance that we have to be. The only place that really hasn't changed much is actually in the water, in the pool. The guidance is still the same as it was before. So we're still going to keep 2 program groups for the polar bear. So we'll have 1 polar bear at 750, and that's going to be the Oakenfield Swords, which is just going to be 1 program group that you're going to be assigned to at check-in. And then the other polar bear is at 825, and that's going to be the Riverbend Shields. And again, that'll be assigned to those Riverbend Shields at check-in. And those the polar bear will run Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So that way everybody still gets the chance to get into the water without the entire camp trying to crowd in at the exact same time. We just wouldn't be able to do it that way due to, again, the CDC guidelines for spacing in the pool. So again, we're going to make sure that we're staying as safe as possible. So that's how we're going to still run things with the 2 different program groups for polar bears. Those times are going to be, again, in the program guide, but they'll also be posted at the pool. And when you're given your kind of group, those will also be then posted in your campsites on the bulletin boards as well. So we'll kind of hop over here into our themed programs. Again, we're going to be running our catapult competition. I've been fielding questions here, there, in emails with some people asking questions about it. So I'm super excited because the things that I'm hearing are, can we do this or can we do that? And everything that I'm hearing is just super exciting. So I'm really excited to see what everybody's coming up with for their kind of engineering. I've heard some really awesome ideas. So again, with the catapult competition, we're just running, some of the guidelines here are the frame can't be higher than 6 feet, just due to height restrictions. The arm can reach past that. And we're looking for a couple of things that we're going to be grading it on. We want to make sure that we have the accuracy. So we're going to be launching kind of a softball sized sponge ball that's going to go around, I'd say 30-35 yards for accuracy. We're looking to make sure that we're using scouting skills, and we're looking to make sure that that fits the theme. So again, if you're adding cool banners or flags, things like that to it, that's going to be something that's just going to look really cool. And we want to make sure that it fits the theme. So that's what we're going to be doing for our catapult competition. You can always also bring the banners that we're going to be using for the banner competition. So aside from the gateway competition, which we run every year, we're also going to ask troops to create like a troop banner with maybe like a troop sigil or something like that. That's going to look cool, and it's going to, again, fit the theme. You can carry it around with you to different activities. You can carry it to like the campfire. You can carry it to the call out. You can carry it to colors every day and things like that, just so that you differentiate your troop from other troops, but in a themed way. And again, definitely bring that and either attach it to your catapult or have it set up beside your catapult, things like that. And then we're going to look at those and see how they fit again with the theme and which ones look the coolest and the best. And then we'll make sure that we give out an award, not only for the catapult, do the catapult competition at our closing campfire, but also for that banner as well.
And then 2 other themed programs you're going to be having throughout the week. The first is our side quests. These are going to be very individual. Scout and a buddy, a patrol, a troop all together can, during free time, downtime, whenever they have an opportunity. There's going to be a board posted centralized location where these groups, scouts and scouters, can go up, find an activity, a quest they find interesting. These could be find a location on the property, hike to a cool place they might not have seen, snap a photo, find a plant, find a staff member, solve a puzzle, and complete it, acquire proof, evidence of their completion, be it photograph, signature, whatever that specific quest dictates. Submit that, and based off the quest, the bounty, the reward, will be awarded to their unit, running score total, the marble count for the duration of the week, to kind of help add a little bit of points to the running total. And then camp-wide games. As always, we're going to be having our Monday night games on the parade field and accompanying areas, spreading out, Unami field, a little more distance, have some more fun, more options. It'll look very much the same, a lot of fun medieval themed games we've got planned. And then we're also expanding Tuesday night. We're going to have Moat Mayhem, a water carnival. It's going to be very similar, but this is where a lot of the water-based games are going to be involved. There's going to be some games in the pool, utilizing the slide, utilizing the deep end, utilizing all we have, sponges, water balloons. Definitely bring a towel and clothes you don't mind getting wet in, because it is going to be some mayhem.
Excellent. I do see a couple of questions as well. Somebody asked if the construction for the catapults needs to be only lashings, or it can include other construction methods as well. We'd like to see, I don't want to necessarily see like nails and screws. If that's something that you have to do, that's okay as well. But I like to see, lashings, other scout skills from Pioneering Merit Badge, including maybe like dovetail joints or something like that, if you're able to do those. 3-2-1 anchors, maybe to hold the arm back until it's the line's cut or whatever, something like that. But definitely using scouting skills to build it, as opposed to like, current methods of building would be the most, better for, I guess, the grading that the staff are going to be doing, the grading for the competition. Somebody also asked about, what was it? Let me see. Do we need to bring supplies for the banners? Yeah, you can bring your supplies, or you could make those banners at home. The catapults, again, you can practice building those at home, but then deconstruct them and bring the pieces to reconstruct at camp. There may be things your scouts learn at camp as far as lashings that might benefit the catapults, or your leaders during the leaders' know-how may learn some different lashing skills. You may say, we want to implement those and teach the unit to build the catapult with that. That would be something that then may benefit the catapult. So again, reconstructing that at camp would be good. Updated program guide with the new schedule. Somebody had asked, as well as somebody asking what the new opening and closing campfire times are. Those will be released with an updated schedule that will be releasing shortly. Is that okay for an answer, Steve?
Yeah, so just so everyone is aware, going off of that, right? With the new mass guidance that we're going to be putting in place, as well as some of these programmatic and schedule changes, right? We will be making little updates to reflect that into the leader's guide. So we'll be rolling out an update to that. We will note the updates, note the changes in that leader's guide, and we'll be sharing that with everybody once that new guide is published. Just as a point of reference, that first Sunday evening campfire will probably start at 8:45, which was the second campfire time as scheduled previously. And then the closing ceremony on Friday afternoon will probably be the second time as well, starting at 3 o'clock. And that's going to have a couple other shifts going on with it too. But that revised schedule is going to come out shortly. One more thing, Jacob and Andy, there was almost all at once, we had this large request for written guidelines for the catapult competition. So if we can get those out to people relatively shortly, I think that will go a long way, and maybe cut down on a few emails for you guys too. So thank you, Jacob and Andy, for this little bit of a program update here. So up next, just some general questions, right? I'm sure people have questions. Questions have been coming in. I guess someone asked a question about the changes to the leader's guide and to the program guide, right? The email notification of that would go whoever the double knot registration link for your unit is connected with, okay? That will be that primary person. We can also send that to anyone who's been in attendance at any of these leaders updates throughout the springs, okay? This is not going to alter dismissal changes or things like that. So we're still looking to have everyone be leaving later in the afternoon on Friday in that regard, okay? Somebody has a question here about IOLS. It's being listed twice. Yes, so Monday and Friday is the 2 sessions for IOLS, and they are combined sessions, right? You need to attend both sessions, right? And there's actually a week-long project between those 2 sessions that the instructor sets up with the learners. So that is sort of a week-long experience going through IOLS and taking the course, but you have to attend both the Monday and the Friday session, okay? Okay, let's see what other things we got going here. We've got all right, we got a question here about Resica Rangers program to allow more attendees. At this time, we are looking to see how we can adjust maybe some of these various sessions. I know people being able to participate in the Rangers program has been a big request at this point. So let's make sure that we can hopefully accommodate that the best as we possibly can. Even though our masking guidelines have sort of changed, you know, a lot of the other things that we put in place have not changed. And that comes to us through our Council Scout Executive, as well as our Council Risk Management and Health and Safety Committee. So we're looking to see what we're going to have, what else is going to change. Now, things might change now between now when you arrive to camp as well. You know, seems like things are constantly updating in our world and on a daily basis in our everyday lives. So we're going to look and see what else is going to maybe change for us in the camp world too. So just kind of keep your eyes out and ears open for that. Okay. Somebody has some questions here about Question here about leaders programs. Okay. Andy, do you want to take leaders programs real fast?
Yeah, sure. Is there a bit more? Is it just an overall leaders programming? Because if so, yeah, throughout the week we have a bunch of programming available to leaders. We're going to have various trainings that are available. We've mentioned IOLS, leader specific, trek on safely, hike on safely, leave no trace, a bunch of these trainings throughout the week. We also have available, we're doing a leaders know-how activity training where you can go around to different areas, and they're going to be offering different programs for some fun things for you to do, fun things you can learn and then bring back to your unit. Say, hey, we learned a super cool thing in this area. Why don't we try this and explain it, bring it back. And then as always, yeah, the reservation is yours. You're free to, explore, see what fun stuff there is to be offered as well.
Okay, thank you, Andy. Going along right with, I guess, leaders, I'm sorry, not leaders, rangers classes, the caps on our merit badge classes are not changing at this time necessarily either. So those are still going to be in place. The merit badge caps are the merit badge caps as they stand, okay? While the masking policy has been updated and includes different guidelines, at this point, things like dining and how we're having our 3 meals, inside and outside seating, none of that is changing with these COVID-19 updates at this time. Fossil rock booking can still take place, as well as your normal troop trips like Cool Dip and Delaware River canoe trips, things like that, with your campsite commissioner during your stay in camp, okay? Right, we are still running an Order of the Hour program. Somebody has asked about that this summer. We're still running that. The lodge is going to be providing us with some guidelines on how they've been running their inductions over the last fall and spring in COVID-19, but we'll still be running our OA ordeal, doing things in a safe, COVID compliant manner, as well as Brotherhood for any of those people who are part of the Cradle of Liberty Council in Unami Lodge 1. Okay. All right, somebody asked about one or two scouts per tent. Okay. We will be assigning, when Jerry does the campsite assignments, Jerry will be assigning 1 scout per individual coming to camp, 1 tent per individual coming to camp with your unit. If you have siblings that your unit feels it is safe for them to share a tent and it falls within the BSA's barriers to abuse guidelines of being within 2 years of age of each other, that is perfectly fine. If the unit decides that's what you want to do. But at camp, we will be assigning 1 tent per individual, scout and adult alike, coming to camp with your unit. Okay. We have a question here about camp vans. Okay. We will be following a distancing policy when using our camp vans to travel to places like the lake or out onto canoe trips and things like that. So the vans won't be running at the absolute full capacity that they usually are. So we encourage people to maybe take a hike over to Cool Dip or plan accordingly and make that hike up to the lake for your lake merit badges, okay? Canoe trips and things like that out of camp. Typically, we wouldn't be able to transport an entire unit anyway in most cases. So transportation for those types of trips will need to be supported by the unit, as is typical for a summer, based upon the number of people going on the trip and things like that. Okay. All right. Seems like the questions have died down for a little bit. That's quite all right. There are one or two more points that I want to be able to hit on real quick. I say that another question comes in. Our parking, someone has a question here about parking, okay? Parking typically isn't going to change from a normal summer, in that each unit is going to have one spot at the top of the hill by the trading post parking lot, and then all other vehicles are in our lower parking lot, the fisherman's parking lot. Trailers can stay in the campsite, but the vehicle that brought them in should move out of the campsite. Okay. All right. Now we're going to do a little bit of a promo at this time for our Troop 1 provisional program that we run each and every summer. Okay. So this year, because of different capacities and limitations, we will be running this program during weeks 6 and 7 only. This is an opportunity for members of your troop who can't come to Resica during the week that your troop's coming, any scouts that are coming to Resica and they're looking for a second week of camp, to come and enjoy all the fun that we're going to be having this summer at camp. During each of these weeks, we're going to have 2 fully trained leaders provide leadership to our Troop 1. The scouts will function as a troop, and they will work on merit badges. They'll participate in the camp-wide programs, and they'll work with those leaders that we have in place for that week to enjoy everything that happens in camp. A lot of the scouts that participate in the Troop 1 program make friends with other scouts from other units, from other states. That allows them to, broaden their horizons. Quite a few of these scouts that participate in the Troop 1 program seem to really enjoy camp so much that they end up joining camp staff down the road. And it's a nice little experience to allow people to participate in the program. So if anyone wants to participate in Troop 1 as part of our second week program, okay, scouts can sign up and be a part of this program for $250. There are still a few spots available in week 6 and week 7 for this program. So if you have any scouts that are interested, they can certainly sign on up and join us for this time here in camp. Okay. We are beyond excited that we're having camp this summer. This time last year, we were putting together our virtual camp program and putting all those pieces together, and registrations were coming in, and we were rolling out different program offerings for that virtual setting. Well, now in 2021, we're going to be having everything here in person, which is truly something that we are excited and proud that we're going to be able to do for each and every one of you in a safe manner this year. Still, things will be different this summer than they have been in past years, but I don't think that's going to mean that camp's going to be any less fun, less adventurous for anyone that comes to camp. So I think this just about wraps everything up. So again, thank you for coming to Resica Falls this summer. Thank you for trusting us to give a safe and awesome program this year. Thank you for shouting out our virtual program from last summer. Very appreciative of that. And we're hoping that our in-person program exceeds those expectations set from last year as well. So this recording will be available in the next few days at youtube.com/Resica Falls. If you have more questions, you can reach out to myself, Jerry, Jacob, Andy, or Matt over the next month before camp starts, or you can just send a general email to hello@resicafalls.org, and somebody will get back to you to make sure that everything is being handled and being taken care of. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we'll see you in camp.